Hey, it's Mitch from TripSchool, and I'm back with another trip tip. This time we are in New York City, and I'm about to show you how to walk the Brooklyn Bridge with a group. We're here in Lower Manhattan in City Hall Park. As you can see around me, we've got New York City's City Hall right over there, the Municipal Building right over there, Chinatown just further up north. You've got a metro stop right here, which is the 4 and the 5 and the 6, which takes you all the way up to Grand Central and the Upper East Side. And of course, we have the iconic Brooklyn Bridge there in the background. Now, walking the bridge with a group is one of the most iconic things you can do. However, it's quite difficult for a couple of reasons. Number one, lots of crowds, and number two, when you get over to Brooklyn, there's some logistics involved in finding the right place to get off, finding the subway, or finding your motor coach again to get you back to Manhattan. So follow me, and we are going to walk the bridge, and I'm going to point out some of these logistical moments as we go. Follow me. The first thing you're going to notice now as you cross over here is that for 2021 and beyond, there is a brand new bike lane. Over here, you can see a sign pointing people to it. The bicycles and the pedestrians are now separated on the bridge. This is a first in the history of the Brooklyn Bridge, and it's great news for your groups because it means they're no longer about to get run over by a bike every time they cross over into the wrong lane. We are going to walk over into the pedestrian lane now. Follow me. Welcome to the beginning of your bridge walk. Now, the bridge is over a mile long when you walk it from this point all the way to the exit ramp. However, it's about half that between the two pillars. When you're walking with a group, you need to decide a couple of things. How much time do you have? If you have an hour or 45 minutes, I would say you can walk all the way over to Brooklyn. And of course, you need the time to get back either by public transportation or by your motor coach meeting you over there. If you don't have enough time, then one of the most popular ways to walk the bridge is to start here, tell your group to walk to the first pillar, and then come back over here to Manhattan. That halfway walk gives you a sense of the bridge, but it doesn't give you that magnificent span over the East River with the views of the Statue of Liberty and the sense of floating over water. So what we're going to do now is walk to the first pillar. Follow me. So we've made it through to the first pillar. This tower is huge, and you can see already that it's quite a hike from Manhattan over to here. We're still in Manhattan. We're still at the Manhattan pillar here, and the approach largely is over land. We've finally made it to water. You can see the South Street Seaport over there to your right. And you're gonna notice that when we get to this pillar, it goes both left and right in terms of the walking path. When you are telling your group where you're going to meet, one of the best things to do is name a pillar, either this one or the farther one. And then what I like to do personally is have the group go on ahead and I'm the rear, so that I know that once I make it to whatever pillar I'm meeting my group at, then I'm there and I know everybody else is there. If you're up front and first, then you don't know who the last person is, and you might be waiting or trying to count. Now, right now, the pillars are under some construction. They're refurbishing them, which means it's kind of hard to meet at the pillar. It's hard to meet anytime at the pillar and count up and talk. You can do it, but the larger your group, the harder it's going to be. Now, when you get to that pillar and you meet your group, you might want to, first of all, give a little commentary, give them a little break, but then decide, are you as a group going to continue on, or are you going to go on back if you haven't decided that in advance? Because sometimes your groups don't even know their own walking strength. This is uphill. They might say, yeah, we're gonna do the whole thing, but believe me, I've had some times where we make it to the first pillar, and especially with student groups, the teacher says, no, we're turning back, we can't do this. Or you realize that they took a lot of time to even get to that first pillar. So keep track of your timing. I always allocate an hour to do the walk. It might take you 30 minutes because everybody's speedy, but you don't want to be in a position of waiting on the other end of the bridge for 5, 10, 15, 20 minutes for that last group of people who are huffing and puffing their way up and over the bridge. So follow me as we go around the pillar and over the bridge. Welcome to the second pillar. So I like to gather my group here, not only to give them a breather. When there's less construction, you can almost gather right at the pillar. There's more room for everyone to be over there. But I'm gathering them there strategically because when we exit that second pillar, you're going downhill, which is great, but you have two options for exiting the bridge. Option one is find the tiny little staircase that leads you down into Brooklyn Heights, into Dumbo, over to the Metro. Or option two is keep on walking and you end up at Tillery Street. Tillery Street is quite far away. It's probably another 15-minute walk to get over to where the motor coaches meet. The motor coaches can also meet at Cadman Plaza Park, but you almost always want to gather them and then walk them together as a group down that staircase so that we can show you some of the great options that await you under the bridge. So follow me. Welcome to Brooklyn. So you've made it this far. The reason we had you meet your group at the second pillar is because here the road splits into two directions. On the right, there's a sign that says to the Brooklyn Museum. That's going to lead you down to Tillery Street. Tillery Street is where, if your motor coach was taking the Manhattan Bridge over, that's where it would turn right in order to drop your group off to have them start walking. There is very little reason to continue going down that way unless you are meeting your coach back there. You can even meet your coach over by Brooklyn Heights a little closer at Cadman Plaza Park. So what we always want to do is walk our group, be in the front of it, down this little staircase and path that leads you to Dumbo. Dumbo is down under the Manhattan Bridge overpass. The Manhattan Bridge is right over there. And this little staircase is easy to miss if your group is not being led by you. So follow me and I'll show you what your options are once we get to the bottom of the staircase. All right, so now we are directly underneath one of the off-ramps to the Brooklyn Bridge, and we are officially entering the neighborhood Dumbo. This is Washington Street. If you took Washington Street all the way down, it would end up at an iconic view at the Brooklyn waterfront with the Manhattan Bridge framed by two beautiful red brick buildings. Now, notice right behind me how undiscoverable the staircase is. It's quite hidden. What I'm going to do now is walk you not down towards the waterfront, but up through the park path over to the High Street subway station. High Street, the A and the C line, is the closest subway stop from Manhattan to drop off your group here if you're going to walk back the other way, or if you're going to take the subway back into Manhattan. So follow me, we're going to go through Cadman Park, and we're gonna end up over at the High Street subway. Welcome to the High Street subway stop. It's the A and the C, or the blue line. What's great about this subway stop is there's only one entrance and exit, which means once you get out of it, no matter which way you're going, you can orient yourself very quickly. These kind of modern homes over here are blocking actually one of the greatest historic districts in all of New York City, Brooklyn Heights. You're not gonna go that direction. You're gonna aim towards the park. You're gonna cross the street, walk the park, and that's how you can get onto the Brooklyn Bridge. So cross the street right there, just like we did before. Take a right, go through the little park, and then find that staircase. Final thing that I wanna show you is if we end up here and we've got some time and the students or your adults are up for the walk down to the waterfront, I want to show you the beauty of the waterfront along Dumbo. And Dumbo, by the way, stands for down under the Manhattan Bridge overpass. It's a great place for a scatter lunch, great place for ice cream, and a great place for views. So follow me. All right, so welcome to Brooklyn Heights, but down below the Heights. We're in Dumbo now. We're following Old Fulton Street simply down to the waterfront. And what we're gonna do is cross over the street right now. I'm gonna show you the row of famous restaurants right over there. So welcome to the first of two famous pizzerias in this area of town. We have Grimaldi's right over here. Grimaldi's is one of two that claim to be some of the best pizza in New York. I will save the story of Grimaldi's versus Giuliana's for another time, except to say that their prime competitor and the original Grimaldi's, which is now Giuliana's, is right over here. These two pizza places sell by the pie, not by the slice, and the lines during the day are excruciatingly long. So beware, you're not going to eat there with a very, very large group. And if you do decide to offer these places as a scatter lunch opportunity, you need to give plenty of time. Luckily, there's another pizzeria, Ignazio's, just down at the corner, which is almost never busy and gives you slices and is a lot easier to get into as a nice backup. We are nearing the end of our Brooklyn Bridge walk as we head down towards the bottom of the Brooklyn Pillar. You're gonna notice one of the highlight restaurants here in New York City, Shake Shack, right over here. And then, if you follow me over this direction, you are going to see the Brooklyn Ice Cream Factory, which is a crowd favorite in its new location for late 2021 and 2022. It used to be over across the street. Finally, the reason for the season, the reason to come down here is the view. So follow me across the street and I'm going to take you out to the perch that looks over all of Manhattan and the Brooklyn Bridge. Follow me. You can see behind me, welcome to the view, the reason for the season, the incredible view of Lower Manhattan. There's a great story here also about George Washington's last-minute escape during the Battle of Brooklyn. But when we are down here, we're just at the beginning of the neighborhood of Dumbo. And for part two, follow us because we are going to continue this tour showing you all of the great food and park options along the Dumbo waterfront leading over to the Manhattan Bridge. So thanks for watching and we'll see you in part two.